Hello and welcome back to StarCraft II. We make Tychus great again by not using Tychus. So I've been doing a lot of practice here off cam with the Tychus hero because frankly, he really wasn't used very well, and I wanted to find a way of actually managing to use him. And I don't want to go into too much detail, but who am I kidding? I'm Incursus. I must detailize everything. You need your abilities. Thank you. You got them, you got them. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and go into a little bit of detail onto how to actually use this commander. And the reality is that Tychus is not a great commander, and everything you do is extraordinarily punishing, and you have to think about everything very far ahead in advance. It looks like there's also an opposing Tychus commander. And this is why I've gone with the Cannonball start rather than Tychus, because Cannonball serves two main purposes. First purpose is that he is incredibly tanky, so it doesn't really matter what the other team throws out. Cannonball is going to be able to tank it, and also he has a lot of single target damage that once we gain this power cells upgrade, his meteor smasher melee attack just obliterates anything on the ground that's vulnerable to single target damage, like other Tychus heroes or Dahaka or Phoenix. Like, it doesn't really matter. Just Cannonball will blow it away. Cannonball not so good versus multiple targets, but also not very good versus air. But it's something we can deal with once we have a tanky front line and can deal with any single large unit that may be thrown out. Like even Nova, for example, gets completely obliterated by Cannonball, which is why we're starting with them. Tychus doesn't have that kind of versatility to start out with. And the reason we need to be very careful how we place every unit is that every unit is extraordinarily expensive, each one costing 650 just base, and then an additional cost for all of their upgrades. And keep in mind that most of Tychus's units aren't actually good at what they say they're good at until you get their upgrades for them. For example, Crooked Sam isn't very good at single target damage until you get upgrades for his demolition charge, and for this reason I'm not going to spend more resources right now. I could spend resources on all kinds of things like another hero, but I want to see what the opponent is. The opponent right now hasn't even revealed what they are, so I'm not going to spend anything more than until I see what it is. Looks like we're up against Phoenix. Now Phoenix has got a lot of single target units. So things like Bosnil are really good versus him. We'll see if we actually win this one. I think just the addition of the Zealots is going to be enough to keep us down. But Bosnil is super tanky and deals a lot of damage, and suddenly we just beat out Phoenix real easy. So we're going to go ahead and invest into a Crooked Sam, get his single target damage upgrades, and then invest into more economy, because we should be able to win against our Phoenix counterpart pretty handily here without too much of an issue. So I'm confident that we can invest into a refinery and then continue pushing on into the enemy team. Now additionally, we could also get some of these upgrades, especially these armor upgrades are super strong only because they add extra 10% HP, which for units like Bosnil is an entire 100 HP. So that's kind of very strong. So once we go ahead and nuke Tychus down, or nuke Phoenix down, this should insta-kill the Phoenix and leave the rest of the wave just super easy to clean up, and problem solved. And we got away scot-free with upgrading our incomes, which is what we want to do. I don't think I'll be able to get a second... Yeah, not going to be able to get a second ability off on Tychus here. So despite Tychus not being a single target damage unit against a single target damage unit, Crooked Sam will lose that every time. He's very ability focused, just very unfortunate. So now I need to predict what the opponent is going to go for next. A lot of times these guys will go for things like massive adept spam or mortal spam, which is really very strong and something I could deal with. For the adept, however, it'll be a little bit more problematic. I probably want to go for Tychus on that one. If they're going for a mortal spam, I'm definitely going for Bosnil instead. It looks like it is going to be Zealots and Immortals, which is kind of difficult for me to deal with. Oh, actually, this Phoenix player just left. so I won't have to deal with it because this is the last spawn that we will see out of them. Now, the answer to this kind of play is more cannonballs to tank the immortals, and then things like Tychus to deal with the single target damage, or to deal with the just large damage output. Should be alright. Now we're gonna push pretty far. But now we're stacking multiple waves, so I'm gonna go with mass ground unit spam. Remember when we're 3 versus 2, we need to do something to force the enemy to counter us. That way they can be hard countered by the teammates. And in this case, I'm going to go with a lot of cannonballs. Because if they go air units to do things like air superiority, then my cannonballs will just walk across and kill their base. And if they do things that aren't single target ground damage, then my cannonballs will walk across and kill their base. Great how that works. You need to get rid of that guy right quick. Q. Alright, Tychus. Can you deal with the single target damage of cannonballs? No, you cannot. Get punched. We've got a lot of single target damage in this loadout with a pretty tanky and healthy backline, or front line. Yeah, I still can't tank their base turret for that long. But we should be all right here. Next up, we're going to get another cannonball because we can spam the living daylights out of these things now without too much of an issue. So one thing we have to look out for is the Nova units. The Nova. They can do things like ghost spam, which allows them to deal damage to our biological units. Fortunately, we already have the counter to it, and that cannonball is very, very tanky. It could just tank all the snipes. Another thing I have to look out for is the Nova Liberator spam. If they go massive Liberators, then they can deal with our ground units very, very strongly. Liberators have a lot of single target damage, specifically ground single target damage, so things like our cannonballs don't do well versus them. But in doing so, if they were to go for that tactic in particular, I want to land this on Tychus. There we go. Make him go away. Ooh. Oh, he already has that. He just spent a lot on that ability, which means that they're not getting a lot of units out of it. Let me go ahead and get the upgrades real quick. And we also have the counter to Liberators in that we can get this Vega units, which allows us to bring those Liberators to the ground where our cannonballs can proceed to punch them out of existence. So really, we could just start spamming cannonballs and make everyone's life miserable, which I think is what exactly we're going to do here. And the moment that they don't counter us hard enough, our cannonball is just going to walk across the field and punch everything out of existence. You need to get nuked. Go away, please. Q. Got it. You got it. I'm going to lose my Crooked Sam here. They're going to lose their Lieutenant Akara. Punch it out of existence. Thank you. Now, as you see here with the opponent, with my Tychus counterpart is going for, it is entirely possible for me to upgrade these cannonballs such that they live longer with their sudden Phoenix ability. They will regain all their HP, become immortal, and it's a really good ability, but in doing so sacrifices a healthy amount of our DPS. Because I could double the DPS of any particular cannonball by just getting a second cannonball instead of investing the same amount of resources into the critical response system. So I don't want to be getting the critical response system right now. There's a time and a place for it. Right now we need just more damage output. If cannonball is going to be our primary damage output, we need more cannonball rather than a bigger cannonball with the same small gun. If that makes sense. Just stun all those guys. Let's bring Nova down to her knees by nuking her into non-existence. Actually, I shouldn't have done that. I should have saved the demolition charge for one of the Tychus heroes, namely any of them here. Would have been nice. But look how quickly we just eat through the Tychus heroes with the single target damage. It's just kind of ridiculous. Now the Tychus hero appears to be investing into a Crooked Sam, which makes sense because he's getting obliterated by me, and my Tychus heroes are very weak toward other Crooked Sams. However, in doing so, it means he's weak to all the other units in the game because none of my teammates are running heroic units. Except for maybe these battle cruisers here. So it's not a great option versus my teammates, but it is a great option versus me. And fortunately, I invested into multiple cannonballs rather than a single big one. That way, my cannonballs can't be obliterated by the single ability. So that should work out nicely. Go ahead and start punching all these guys across. So I'm not going to use the demolition charge. Gonna wait. Gotta wait for Tychus to come out, as we just kind of walk up and punch things. And hopefully I don't need to use it on a siege tank. I'll highlight a siege tank for now. Nope, nope, nope. I'll highlight you and make you cease to exist. Oh, it procced, it activated while he was invulnerable. That's quite unfortunate, but I suppose it's a risk we're running for targeting on Bosnil. Fortunately, it would appear that it didn't really matter, because we did enough damage to the wave anyways that it still blew him up. As we push further, look, we even got out a Hyperion. Oh, that's just gross. So many battle cruisers. This match is... Something is wrong with this match, that's for sure. So many slingshots. Alright, let's walk over here and clear up Tychus wave real quick. There we go. I'm gonna wait. You go over here. Toss you on Nakara, please. No more healing out of you. And then suddenly Nakara explodes. Bye. You won't be missed by anyone except the other team. Let's go ahead and get another cannonball out of here. There we go. Next up, I'm probably gonna. Honestly, I think I have another cannonball. So probably want to get something with a bit more damage. Our option for just generic damage is Tychus. He kind of hits very hard, at least to single targets, and then repeatedly to the next target down the line. So Tychus is a decent option. Don't really care about his his grenade ability, because the grenade ability is a one-time AoE, so it works okay versus Swarm. But because it's a one-time ability, like Crooked Sam's single target damage, it makes him not a great option for AoE. So really, we just want Tychus's generic damage, just to help out against things like anything, which is what Tychus is alright for. Tychus doesn't do anything well enough to invest in heavily, but you know, he does everything well enough to keep around every so often. I think now is a good time for exactly that. Did I get it on the cannonball? Nope. I don't know if I got it on the I don't think I got that on the cannonball, which is unfortunate. Let's go ahead and put our Tychus down. You doing that with this? Do I care about the implosion core? The stun is nice. Yeah, we'll go ahead and get this stun on the grenade just to have it. But I suspect that it's not going to be terribly useful, and the 200 minerals could have been spent on a lot of other things more effectively. Yeah, these do they not have lockdown rockets? They don't have lockdown rockets yet on the Strike Goliaths, which is probably a mistake. They probably definitely should have gotten to tech level 3 and got the lockdown rockets. But that's on them, and that's one less problem I have to deal with. Put you on this guy, just to have him go away real quick. So many cannonballs, just walking up and punching all the things. This is probably for the best. There we go. Let's see, is Crooked Sam gonna survive? Nope. Not worth keeping him alive either. Next up, more cannonball. No, next up we're getting upgrades. We want to get some armor upgrades to help our cannonballs. We want to get the endurance supplement. Actually, should have gotten this first. Let's cancel this. There we go. Now we upgrade. And that will give our cannonballs an extra 250 HP, which is super strong because they're already in large numbers. That should help out nicely. Next up, we're going to get some upgrades on these guys. We can do a lot of goodies like getting the ultimate ability here, which will give our cannonballs much more single target damage, like to kind of ridiculous levels of single target damage, which is looking like it's the correct answer. A lot of the units here are massive single target damage dealers. Or a lot of the targets here have a lot of HP that can sustain the kind of single target damage that we want them to deal with. We're gonna go punching all the things, yeah. Burn you down. There we go. Alright, next up. Get this guy. Put all those guys on instant upgrades. There we go. And then next up, we're actually going to start investing into the critical response system. Critical response system, once the cannonballs reach 0 HP, will suddenly revive to full HP and also become invulnerable for about 3 seconds. Which means that they'll be able to stay in the face of their enemies and deal that much more damage. Which is nice. Generally not as nice as having another cannonball, but it's, you know, it's there. I should have checked to see if he has the damage mitigation ability before tossing it on. I should just not toss this on the fire bat. As much as it's nice to instantly get rid of their tank unit. Oh, we're just gonna win here. Like you can't get these cannonballs off the fortress that quickly. They're just gonna punch everything, and it's gonna be over. GG. And we're off to round 2 because, well, last round, I don't want to call it easy mode, but we did have a disconnect, and I think it was nice that we got to have a disconnect and have an easier match for us, just because I got to explain all the things and show them off in an easier controlled environment. But now we're gonna go full difficulty mode, and if someone quits this round, I'm dipping out immediately. So we're just going to go ahead and continue on. I'm gonna start Cannonball again, just because he's a good unit. Good all-rounder. Well, I don't know about good all-rounder, but difficult for the enemy to counter quickly. We'll be able to push across. It looks like the teammates haven't gone for the, at least the Nova units hasn't gone for the early game pushing across the middle, so we won't have that sweet mineral bonus income, but we'll see if we can claim it here. Our Zagara teammate has decided to claim the middle, so that would be nice. Looks like the enemy counterpart to the Zagara is going to be a Nova, so have to keep that in mind. But I'm curious as to what we will be facing off against. It looks like the enemies, or at least my counterpart, has spawned stealth banshees. That is... Oh, those are infested banshees, so we're going to be up against Stukov. Now, unfortunately for a start, like Cannonball, we don't have any anti-air. But fortunately, we can gain anti-air quite quickly by putting down a Vega. Vega brings air units to the ground and also doubles as a detector, and that's really about it. So we're be hitting 2 birds with 1 stone there. I don't know if we'll get enough minerals before the before the wave spawns. Looks like we won't, so we'll be losing out our next wave as well, which is, you know, it's unfortunate, but it is the pains of having units that costs 800. I'm not going to bother putting Vega down right now, even though I could have gotten it out, because we don't have the resources. And it'll be a bit more of a surprise, because not only do I have to get Vega down, but I have to spend an extra 200. Yeah, 1 in 3 are rushing air, yes, which is unfortunate. But we should be alright here. Next up, we're going to want to get a Firebat. Firebat to deal with the Banshees. Yes, Firebat to deal with the aircraft. We'll have Vega bring them to the ground, and then the Firebat to burn them alive, because they're still infested light units that can be purged with glorious fire, at least once the Vega combo comes out. We've got the Vega fully upgraded now to deal with aircrafts and stealth units, both of which are required to deal with these infested Banshees. We should be winning our wave at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and get a refinery. Notice how I'm preempting this, because I necessarily have to, because my units are so expensive. Good. Oh, wait, that's not my wave. Ah! That's probably for the best anyways. Let's go ahead and move. Alright. So time to bring out our units. Now, we should be able to bring down all of these Banshees, but it looks like my teammate is actually going to do most of the work for me. Just because he's there. And has very strong anti-air capabilities. Now, hopefully they get off. Nope, we're just gonna walk up and punch them, which I'm fine with. Start dealing with all of their turrets here. We're not actually gonna get their bunker, which is unfortunate, but we're gonna deal some shield damage to it. Well, I suppose welcome to Commander's Mode, where everyone has super bunkers and turrets in front of them that defend all the things. So it looks like we're going to be dealing with a lot of aircraft in this particular match, which means I'm going to be doing a lot of building anti-ground units and coupling them with Vega, which is kind of a surprise to a lot of people, I imagine. But Tychus doesn't have a lot of anti-air options, so in order to, well, do anti-air, our better option is to do a lot of anti-ground and then bring the aircraft to the ground with Vega's ability. A little bit counterintuitive, but it's a lot stronger than trying to spam out things like Crooked Sam, which have direct anti-air attacks. It's just all of Tychus's direct anti-air units don't have a lot of good damage associated with them. So now we can bring them to the ground and have the Fire Bat burn them out of existence. Isn't that great? And, oh dear. Looks like one of my teammates has left the game, so now we are on super hard mode, where the teammate has been the one to leave rather than the enemies here. It's really very unfortunate. We were doing so well versus the aircraft too. That's unfortunate. Well, it appears that we're going to have to deal a lot better versus the aircraft now. Mostly because we're up against a lot of it. So we'll get to showcase a lot of Tychus's anti-air and how to do it properly. Now, I don't know if we'll be able to gas up again here. I don't think so. I really do want to gas up again because Tychus's units cost a lot of monies. We good? Bringing them to the ground? They're doing things. Looks like my anti-air is kind of distracted, which is unfortunate. Kind of need you up front. There we go. Go ahead, bring them down. There we go. Do that. And we lost this one. This is the unfortunate reality of having different weapon groups. Weapon types with the ranged and the melee. That they get all separated out. Can I get another Vega? If I get a second Vega, we should be able to bring down enough of these Phoenixes that they won't separate our ground and ranged anymore. Now, unfortunately, Vega is not good versus anything else. But it's alright versus Phoenixes. Or in this case, Mirages, which are totally not Phoenixes. How is this looking? We definitely need some more cannonballs up in here. Cannonballs just face tank any of the damage output that the Novas can offer, so we should be able to deal with it. Now, unfortunately, we're also going to have to deal with the Stukov, which offers a lot of swarm-style units, which Cannonball doesn't do well versus, so we're gonna have to keep that in mind. Fortunately, we already have a Blaze, which does very well versus them, so it should be all right for the moment. Just for the moment. Alternatively, we could get a Tychus, which works decently well versus these aircraft, just because it's a ranged unit that shoots up, kind of generalist, and because it's with the active ability, we'll splash things around a little bit. Are you gonna be alright? No, you're gonna jump into the turret range. Story of my life. Not sure if another Cannonball or a Tychus would be a superior option here. I actually think Tychus is gonna be superior now that I think about it. With the just damage type, it'll work better. The grenade kinda helps too. You don't want to be using Tychus primarily for his grenade. It's an ability which means that it won't last very long. But we're not about that life. But we're completely obliterating all of this Stukov wave by far. I'm pushing in. I think the second Vega was definitely a good call. We're completely destabilizing these Mirages. Are we just gonna take the turret here? Like, it's gonna be close. We're pushing pretty hard now. Oh, a couple more shots. Just a couple more shots. Oh, so close. Down to 40 HP, but not enough. I'm not sure how that wave is going to handle these Mirages. The Queens are good, but they get lifted super easily. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have to come out here to clean all this up. There we go. Go on. Clean it up, boys. You're made for this. I have specially ordained you to purge all of the hostiles here. And now it's time for Vega to show them good work. Oh dear. Nope. A little bit too much stacking for us to deal with. Let's go ahead and get an armor upgrade and level 1 weapons upgrade. I don't think I can invest into a refinery here. It is far too close. Far too close. But good work, Zagara. The pseudo splash damage, or just the multi-hit chain attacks. Doing a good amount of work to this. Oh dear. Alright, so now we're up against carriers. Carriers are gonna cause us a little bit of a problem. We need that massive damage output. But alright, come on, get on the turret. No! Get on the bunker, not the... Okay. Well, they've base tanked all that. It's gonna be alright. Let us continue forward. Now, these are the units from my previous wave. Fortunately, they're still alive, and now stacking with the Zerg wave. So, the Zerg's, my teammate's relative lack of DPS is going to be augmented by Tychus, who does a good amount of work on his own. So we should be pretty strong here to push forward, especially with my next wave arriving right now to deal with all of this Zerg filth that we're just going to purge with glorious Firebat fire. We should be able to get onto the bunker now. Come on, focus the bunker. You can do it. You can do it. Focus the bunker. There we go. And that's one bunker down. Just like that, we are in the lead once more. So we're going to go ahead and get some more units here. I think we need to go with another Firebat, to be honest. There we go. Firebat will deal with a lot of these Zerg units, as well as all of these Mirages that get brought to the ground. Not so well versus the carrier, not so well versus the Terran units, but they're not bad versus the Terran units. They're just kind of alright versus the Terran units. And with the extra tankiness, we'll allow our backline, Vegas, to stay alive longer and help out, which is kind of nice. Vega, not good on the damage output scale. Just kind of there. Yeah, the Zerg, we need to focus a little bit more on dealing with the Zerg. It's kind of wiping out our wave a little bit. Probably also want another cannonball for the single target damage. Get on the base. Get on the base. No! Tychus! Turn around! Yes, okay. It's fine. Fine. Things are fine. Alternatively, we could get more upgrades for our dudes. We could tech up. I could get a refinery, which I'm going to get because we're probably not going to win here, even though we're cutting it kind of close. Come on. Alright. Now you bring down the Phoenixes, and now you blow them all up. That's what we're looking for. You're good. We need more cannonballs and single target damage. We're not burning down these dudes fast enough. Not nearly fast enough. Yeah. Single target damage is required. So options for that are going to be Rattlesnake, which is actually a really good option here now that I think about it, just because he does a lot of good anti-armor damage, which is a lot of what we're fighting here, at least from the Terran wave. Like all of these Marauders. The problem with Rattlesnake is that he is armored himself, so things like these Marauders also deal extra damage versus him. I think it is going to be worth it in this case, mostly because he also has an ability that heals nearby friends, which is good. Bring down the carriers. There we go. Let our Firebats burn the carriers out of the sky or off the ground where they're peacefully landed, which is what we're looking for. That will help out. Didn't do that much. Let's go ahead and put down our Rattlesnake. Rattlesnake, not all that good on the HP side. We can fix that with endurance supplements, or at least help fix that with endurance supplements. But he does a lot of good damage, in that he deals 88 damage per second to armored units, which is kind of a lot. And once we get activate his ultimates, he does that in an AoE, which is nice. Okay, yeah, we definitely need more Firebats here. Definitely need more Firebats here. This is looking real rough. Yeah, Stukov no longer going for the sky, which is not a surprise. We're dealing with Sky Stukov very, very strongly. Additionally, we could probably also use another Vega, but we need to focus on being super mineral efficient. We don't have the luxury of throwing around units. Yeah, the Vegas are nice. They're getting rid of carriers by dominating them and also bringing units to the ground, immobilizing and stunning them all. There we go. Come on, Rattlesnake. Focus on things that are not the ghosts. Thank you. He's focusing on light units, which is unfortunate. Rather, all the non-armored units. Which is very unfortunate. But So is life when working with AI. So many ghosts dying, it sounds so beautiful. It looks like we're... I don't know if getting pushed back is the appropriate description. I don't think we're getting pushed back, we're just also not pushing forward. Oh, alright, definitely more fire bats. More fire bats for sure. And then we need to get armor upgrades to deal with a lot of these tiny units dealing damage. Yeah, they've got level 3 armor, or level 3 weapons. We need to get armor to counteract that whole having weapons thing. So let's get one more blaze. Give him all the upgrades. Upgrade to tier 2. Gonna put this guy on autocast. Do I care about the AoE that much? Yeah, we do, actually. Don't need that much single target damage. We need a bit more splash. Put those guys on autocast as well. So we'll want to get that upgrade the moment it becomes available to obtain. We're slowly getting pushed back here. It's not fast, but it is presence, and it's gonna cause us some problems. Here. We've had the mineral advantage, or at least the center line advantage, for quite some time, and I think we're going to lose it here. Yeah, we are, and that's unfortunate. Oh dear. Come on. Push it back. Nope, we lost the mineral advantage. It's the middle advantage. Clear all the things out of the sky. Do it. Bring the carriers to the ground. There we go. Punch the carriers. There we go. Punch the carriers. That's what we want to do. Literally with our fists, because that's how Tychus rolls. And here come the ghosts. There we go. Alright. This rattlesnake really insists on hitting... Oh, there we go. Now you're hitting the armored units and taking them out. Just took them a moment to clear through the Marines. Oh, jeez. Purifier beam. Things are fine. Everything is fine. Upgrade you to tier 3. There we go. Once we get the upgrades on these guys, we should be in a much better place. No more of this taking massive damage shenanigans. Right, please burn the banshees down out of the sky. You. There we go. Now is actually a decent time for us to be getting Lieutenant Nakara. Nakara is an interesting commander, or interesting unit. Super strong on any wave that is not a Tychus wave. So, you know, once we get into stacking with the teammate, then Nakara becomes unreasonably powerful. However, just Nakara on Tychus' units isn't all that great. Just because Nakara has one purpose and one purpose only, in that it keeps units alive. Tychus units are not that great at being alive for a long amount of times. Or at least they're not that beneficial to keep alive for a long amount of time. Just because they don't have the kind of damage output that you'd expect from an entire wave. They're inherently... Tychus units are generally more tanky than damage dealing. So the same mineral costs you get for a Tychus unit will not deal the same amount of DPS you get for a standard wave of, say, Hydralisks, for example. Therefore, keeping the Tychus units alive for longer doesn't have the same damage output as keeping a regular wave of, say, Hydralisks alive for a long time. So it's really beneficial to have Nakara healing up your Hydralisks and keeping the Hydralisks alive. Or at least much more beneficial than keeping our Tychus units alive. Which means Nakara is very often not that great of an option for Tychus units, as opposed to literally any other unit in the game, like this wave of Hydralisks here. But we'll see if we can invest into a Nakara after we get our upgrades on our dudes now. Looks like we're starting to get the ultimates on these guys. Tychus has got his upgrade. Rattlesnake has got his upgrade, which means he can actually deal with some of these infested Terran units a little bit better and not have to get distracted on them so much. There we go. Fire coming through, burning everything to pieces. Looks like the Karax player is having to invest into Annihilators in an attempt to deal with my units a bit better. Remember, Annihilators have the active ability that deals a lot of damage to an individual target. It's a one-time use, or technically not one-time use, but they never live long enough for it to come off cooldown. And next up, we're going to want some armor upgrades. I'm just waiting to see that all of my blazes have their ultimate ability obtained before investing into the armor. It looks like that is now about to be the case once we hit 400 minerals, and then we'll invest into armor upgrades, because the extra 100 HP is super good. And also the armor is super good against these things that have multiple attacks per second. And also 3-3. Jeez, they have 3-3 already. Okay. Well, we can even the odds a lot with our own upgrades. And our upgrades are better because they also include plus 10% life gain. There we go. Come on. Another upgrade has been obtained. These guys up to 1,400 HP. Now, keep in mind that Annihilators do extra damage versus Armored, which is okay for us, despite our Blazes being Armored units, because the Blazes now have the ultimate ability, which reduces damage taken to 30. So all the units that would typically do extra damage to my units no longer deal extra damage to my units, which is awesome. Very, very awesome. So, haha! All of you trying to hard counter me, get wrecked. Alright, looks like they have a couple Liberators coming out of the Nova, which is concerning for my units. Fortunately, my Blazes only take 30 damage as opposed to like 170 that the Liberators usually deal. Also, fortunately, we have a couple of Nova reskins to deal with all those Sky units now. Good. Oh, lasers are still dying horribly. Barely, but actually, dying horribly isn't the right description. They're just barely dying. So we get one more armor upgrade to level 4, and then we'll invest into a Nakara, just to keep things alive a little bit longer, and also keep our friends alive. Yeah, these whole decoy things, I imagine not doing well for our wave. Those decoys are quite strong. They hit for 100 each, but as long as they keep hitting our lasers and nothing else, then they won't be hitting for 100, which is very, very strong. Yes, purge all the ghosts. And all the Zerg units. Please burn them alive. Thank you. Burn them till they're not alive. Good. You have done well. Yes, ignite. Blaze does so well versus anything speak of. Alright, so now we can upgrade, keep upgrading more. Let me go ahead and get one weapons upgrade real quick, just to get a little extra damage on that. But now up to 5 armor and 1,650 HP. Next up, we need a Nakara, because my units are surviving way into the Zerg wave, and having Nakara help out the Zerg wave is going to be unreasonably destructive. As is, we're already pushing back to their core and destroying their base turrets, which is good for us. And all their decoys are getting stuck on my blazes. I could also deal with a couple extra blazes, or 3. Purge the air units. There we go. Nope, it survived. Oh well. That means it's just now time for a Nakara. Oh no, stop purging my friends Zerg with fire. Did you know Zerg don't like fire? Let's get our Nakara over here. Ooh, what upgrades do we want on Nakara? Definitely this one, because it's an AoE. And AoE works really well versus Zerg units. Well, on healing Zerg units. Purge with fire. Oh dear. Oh dear. I'll probably want to invest into some extra survivability upgrades for my cannonball. He's doing good work. Let's see. Do I want to get a super Nakara is the question here. Let me just watch it a little bit and see how well Nakara is actually doing here, because Nakara is going to do better if Nakara actually survives long enough to help out the Zerg wave. There we go. A Raid Liberator being destroyed by a fire bat. That's not something you see very often. Come on. I need you. Could upgrade the single target healing. So Nakara hasn't survived this wave, though it was close. With a single target healing upgrade, might actually be worth it. All right, we'll get the upgrade. I'm actually not sold on the Matrix Generator. It's good. Its cooldown is only 11 seconds, so it's not bad, but it's also not great. So once I'm just gonna fully upgrade Nakara. Fully upgraded Nakara is really good, and then we're gonna invest into some more blazes, just because they can tank for so long, and also they're good at dealing damage. Also very good at dealing damage, even against these larger units. There we go. Purge. Did they kill off Nakara already? Looks like they did. Oh. I guess the carriers focused down Nakara, which is unfortunate, but not a surprise. Fortunately, Zagara's got some pretty beefy units here that kind of just swarm in and blow everything up. Am I gonna need more... Oh, no, we've got a Blaze on the base. While Blaze is not the greatest at taking down buildings, he can tank them for a very, very long time. So while he tanks, the Zerg units will sit on the base. Oh, no, now we've got Tychus units on it. And we win once more. GG. And that is the power of Tychus and how you use him properly, even against 3 players with R2. And look at this. We have managed to deal not only competitive damage, but we managed to tank more than our teammate. And that's the correct way to play Tychus. Alright guys, if you want to see more actually good play here in Direct Strike Commanders, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because we'll be doing some more of this coming up soon. But for now, I'll see you guys later.